Hello, my name is Chills. Psych. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the first episode of True Scary 911 Dispatcher Stories. What do you think about that? Scary, right? In today's video, I'm gonna share 3 stories that will rock you to the core. We've changed the names to protect the identities of the true victims because we're not trying to put them out there like that, so we just changed all the names to fake names. Viewer discretion is advised. Some details can be disturbing to others and mature audiences only.
That means if you're a kid, exit the video.
Go ahead, we'll wait. Alright, all the kids should be gone by now. For the first dispatcher story, this dispatcher's first day will be a day she never forget. We're gonna name her Sydney. Now, Sydney may have called to 911 to ask about the process on getting a restraining order. But as she starts to explain that her boyfriend has become abusive and controlling, the dispatcher starts to explain that there's no immediate emergency. She could go to the station to get a restraining order.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard, but she has to show up at the station. You don't call 911. But all of a sudden, mid-conversation, the doorbell rings. Sydney tells the dispatcher to hang on a second. There's somebody at the door. But as she approaches, she begins to open the door. The boyfriend suddenly bursts through the doorway. The dispatcher hears a struggle happening, but cannot help or send police because Sydney hasn't revealed the address. So there's not much that she can do just yet. The dispatcher is sitting helplessly on one of her first calls, and she's being forced to listen to the man repeatedly strike Sydney over and over again. But without a location, the dispatcher's sources are limited. But there is one thing the dispatcher did get. It was Sydney's first and last name. And she was able to use that to locate Sydney. And she sent police to the scene. As the police arrived in the middle of the brutal attack, they were able to intervene and break up the altercation. When the police took one look at Sydney, they were in total shock at how severely beaten and bruised her face had been. They immediately rushed her to the hospital, and by doing so, Sydney was able to survive the attack. Her boyfriend was arrested and sent to prison, where he sits till this day.
That's what you get. Luckily, she was able to use what she did have to send the police right on time because apparently they arrived in the middle of the attack. So no telling what could have happened if the dispatcher didn't find Sydney's location in time.
It could have went left real quick. In this series,
I'm not saying it like that.
I have 3 true scary 911 dispatcher stories. My name is Dice, and I'm the D in HeightzD.
I'm not saying it.
Before we get into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to HeightzD. And while you're at it, hit that bell for future notifications. Story number 2. This young man, after a long day at school, comes home to find the man who raised him strung from the ceiling from a rope. The young man is frozen in fear and confusion, thinking why would his father do something like this? He frantically calls 911 and the dispatcher answers.
911, what's your emergency?
She hears the young man crying non-stop and he's hyperventilating. She asks the caller, 911, what's your emergency? And the young man replies, my dad is hanging from the ceiling. As the dispatcher is in total shock, she still has to process what's being said as she's asked the usual questions. Is he moving? The young man says, no. Can you cut him down? He replies, no. Is he cold? The young man says, I don't know. She said, is he breathing? And the young man says, I don't know. The young man is just in distraught and he's going, he doesn't know what to think right now. Like if something like that happened to you, what would be going through your mind?
Same, shock and confusion.
Shocked and confusion. But eventually this young man stops answering the questions the dispatcher was asking. And suddenly the dispatcher hears a thud and call goes silent. The dispatcher is repeatedly calling for the young man, asking, "Are you there? Are you there?" The dispatcher gets no reply. Then at a moment's notice, the dispatcher next to her receives a call of a young man hysterically crying in the middle of the street, right in front of her house. Turns out that call came from the neighbor. Story number 3. The dispatcher's last call will be a one that haunts her till this very day. She answers the phone to a muffled voice that she can't quite understand. She tells the caller, "I can't understand you. What is your location? What's your emergency? We can help. Just talk to me. What's happening?" And with no hesitation, the voice says, "I just want you to get my body before my family comes back." The dispatcher desperately pleads some more, saying, "Isn't there anything we can do?" But before she can finish her sentence, she hears a huge cracking sound, followed by a gargling. Then the call went silent. Like, that's it?
You didn't say anything about Kermit the Frog. The voice sounded like Kermit the Frog.
It's fucking not on here.
Sure?
Theirs is just not here. It just says it was silent. That's the stories for today.
Now go down.
I can't. That's it. It's 3 for 3. Like, what the fuck?
Wait, go up. Okay, go up. Go up.
Oh, here's a
There
Kermit.
it is. I knew it too. As soon as I heard you saying that part, I was like, what the fuck? But I didn't want to say anything because
We bout to turn it up. Cause so lit, we fun going up. Big so hood, everybody gotta jump, everybody gotta jump, everybody gotta jump.